welcome back to the channel. So this video is a little bit different than my other types of content, but I just got my brand new 2021 MacBook Pro 16-inch and I sort of want to do a review of it, just show you guys the new changes, sort of how it performs, as well as my experiences using it. So yeah, this review is going to be more based on the sense of, is this a good computer for entrepreneurs who like to work at home, work at WeWork, or coffee shops, or whatever it is. I'll say I'm a huge Apple fanboy. I have a lot of different Macs. I've been using Macs since like 2010. And yeah, this specific computer is an update that I've been waiting for a long time. I did get the previous generation MacBook Pro. I think that was about 2 years ago, but ever since then, I've been waiting for this new update and I'm just super excited that it's finally here. So right off the bat, let's first talk about some of the physical changes for this new MacBook Pro. You guys can see that I went with the 16-inch version versus the 14-inch version because I personally really like large screens and just felt like that would be a better fit for me. However, we'll go through the reasons why later, but you know, I'm looking at this laptop right now. It's so big, it's a little bit heavy, and a part of me does wish I went with the 14-inch version instead. But yeah, taking a look at the outside of this MacBook, you know, it's still very beautiful for a laptop, but I will say compared to the last generation MacBook Pro, I don't like the look of this as much. It's just a lot more bulky. It sort of looks like a big brick, and it really resembles like the really old generation MacBook Pros that were around like 10 years ago. So you can see not too many curves, very square-like, just basically like a rectangle. So yeah, it's based on preference, I guess, but for most people, I think they won't like the design of this MacBook as much. That being said, you know, a computer like this, it's not just for the looks. It still looks very good, but the reason why this one is a little bit less, you know, good looking with the curves is because of all these ports right here. So you can see that Apple, after 5 years, has gone back to having their MagSafe charger. We have 3 total Thunderbolt ports on this computer. We finally have the audio jack. So I don't know if you guys still use wired headphones. I personally don't, but if you do, this is perfect for that. We got the HDMI as well as the SD card reader. This is one that a lot of people really missed in the previous generation MacBooks. So I am glad that that is finally there because I do use SD cards a lot and having to use a dongle is pretty annoying. On the inside, you can see that there are actually some pretty big changes compared to the last gen. So the trackpad is actually the exact same size, very large as always. I went with the silver one because I personally really like the silver color. I think that most people are probably gonna go with the space gray just because it's, you know, a little bit different, but I love how the silver looks. You can see that the keyboard itself is completely black on this one. So with the previous gen, we had the silver or the space gray color in between the keys, but for this one, it's just completely black. The screen is absolutely gigantic. You can see that the bezels are quite small, which is very good looking. And we'll talk about this more later, but there is that notch at the top, and we'll go through like if I like it or not. But yeah, those are the major changes for this MacBook Pro. The weight of this is 4.8 pounds, which is extremely heavy, and the dimensions are 0.66 inches by 14 by 9.8 inches. So just a tad larger than the previous gen. But with all these ports and everything, it is 0.5 pounds heavier than the previous model, and it is 2/100ths of an inch thicker, so just a little bit thicker. Now, if you compare this version to the 14-inch version, that one is actually quite a bit smaller, and especially like in use, I've done a lot of research about it. It seems like that one is much more portable, with dimensions being 0.61 inches by 12.3 inches by 8.7 inches. And it's 1.3 pounds lighter than this one, so it comes in at 3.5 pounds. One great thing about this one is that even though it's missing one USB-C port from compared to the previous generation, all 3 of these ports are going to be Thunderbolt 4 compatible. And that's basically just the newest revision of the Thunderbolt interface. Another big change, as you probably saw, is that there's no touch bar on this computer. So yeah, Apple finally decided to remove the touch bar, which I thought looked really cool, but in use, like I didn't really use it at all. I probably used it like a total of 10-20 times in my life. So yeah, this is a change that, you know, some people really like, but for me, I don't really care too much. I barely use those keys anyways, but aesthetically wise, I did like the touch bar. That thing looked really cool. Now for this display, it's an XDR display. So that basically stands for Extreme Dynamic Range, which is basically just Apple's version of HDR. The screen also has a 120 Hertz refresh rate with Pro Motion support. And yeah, this is the first time they ever put this on a MacBook Pro. You know, it's been on the iPhone, it's been on the iPad, but yeah, I'm really excited that it's on this because it looks amazing. We got deeper blocks, brighter whites, more contrast, as well as better color. And yeah, it's really cool because this one has 2,554 local dimming zones, which means that the mini LED technology is actually able to like basically shut off some of the pixels, which results in much deeper blacks. Let's talk about the camera because this is something that is a big change. Obviously, this camera is a lot better than the previous generation cameras. And that makes sense because that's why it's so big. That's why there's this actual notch at the top. And then using this laptop, I've actually found that the notch is not bad. The notch is at the top. It doesn't take up much space, but that's basically where the top little toolbar sort of goes. So it really doesn't affect your functionality of the computer. And if you move the mouse, it basically just disappears right there. So you can see it doesn't like hop from one side to the other. You actually have to drag it across. But yeah, everything I've used so far on this, it has not made a difference. It's just in that little toolbar at the top, so it does not affect the actual usable space of the screen. The picture quality itself is very good. It's a 1080p camera. So this is compared to the 720p cameras from before. And it does seem like the color as well as the picture quality is much better than before. So yeah, that is a trade-off with the size of this notch, but I do think it's worth it. I do like having that better camera. And as far as the speakers, this one has 6 speakers built into here, 4 of which are subwoofers. And it sounds really good. You know, I don't really use these speakers too much because I'm normally connected to my AirPods or my Bose headphones. But yeah, the speaker grills look really great. And it's always nice to have the option to play music on this and still have it sound quite good. The M1 chip, you guys, this chip is so fast. And I'd say most of you guys watching this probably won't need this type of speed. I'll even say like, I definitely do not need this type of speed in my computer. I have a Mac Mini. I also have a MacBook Air with the M1 chip, or I guess both of them have the M1 chip. And those computers are completely fine for what I do. You know, I do video editing, I do Photoshop, stuff like that. But yeah, this one is on a whole different level. And yeah, you guys can look up some of the benchmark tests that other people have done. It's just very fast. So yeah, if you do need that power, this one is absolutely perfect. It's really great for professionals that need fast rendering times. But yeah, for the everyday user, I'd say this is a bit overkill. It's just a really nice laptop, but it is very expensive and you can definitely just get away with using the MacBook Air or having a Mac Mini or something like that. Another great thing about this one is that since the M1 chip is so power efficient, the battery life on this thing is amazing, and I think Apple rates it at 20 hours of use. Okay, so those are all like the new changes with this laptop. I'm not a tech reviewer, so sorry if that didn't really make too much sense. But let's jump into the next section where I'll talk about sort of like the usability of this computer, especially for entrepreneurs. Now, I am mostly an online entrepreneur. I do most of my work from home or on the go. And this computer, you guys, is very, you know, it's a great computer if it's your only computer. But if you do have a main computer that you use with a huge screen, you probably won't need something with a screen this big. Like I said, it's almost 5 pounds, which, you know, doesn't sound too heavy, but it is very heavy, guys. It's like a very dense brick. And once you put it in your backpack or your bag or whatever, you'll see like this one feels like it has a ton of heft to it. If you guys do care about portability, I'd say go with the 14-inch. The screen is still pretty big. It's not as big as this, right? This is super expansive, but the portability of the 14-inch one is a lot better. I sort of wish I had one here to show you guys the differences, but I'm sure there are a ton of reviews out there that you guys can watch that sort of compare the two screen sizes and basically everything else. But yeah, as a computer, very good. I think I'm someone that is huge on having like a good environment to work on. You know, with these computers, we do all our work on it. We make money using our computers. So that's why I think having a computer that's really nice to use, that is super luxurious, is extremely important. It's a one-time investment, thousands of dollars, yes, I know, very expensive, but it's the tool you're using to make money. So that's why I'll say, if you make money online and you're looking to upgrade your computer, you have a lot of cash, then it might make sense to buy this computer. I think this one costs just under $3,000 after tax. And yeah, this is the pretty much base 16-inch model. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's got the M1 Pro chip. And yeah, the only upgrade I got for this one was the 1 terabyte SSD drive. So yeah, it comes standard with the 512 terabyte drive, which is probably big enough for most people, but you know, it was $200 extra to upgrade to the 1 terabyte. So I just did it. I definitely feel very productive when I have this computer in front of me. You know, the screen is big enough where I can do two side-by-side windows at the same time. Whereas I think on the 14-inch, it's a little bit small to see for most people. So yeah, if you're multitasking, this one is a great option. But if you have another computer and this is not your main computer, so sort of like my situation, I think you don't need the 16-inch. It's very big. It's very heavy. You probably won't want to carry it anywhere else. So yeah, in a situation like that, I'd say check out the 14-inch, at least go to the Apple store and see if you are okay with the size of the screen on that one. Because yeah, everything else is the same besides the screen size and pretty much the battery, right? The smaller one costs a lot less. I think it's about $500 less starting, and it has all the same specs besides the screen. Since it's smaller, it's going to be a little bit less thermally efficient, but pretty much everything else with that computer is the same. So $500 extra for the larger screen. Yeah, I just don't think it's worth it unless you need that huge screen real estate. Also, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't need to do video editing or anything that takes up a lot of rendering and computing power, I'd say you don't need something like this. The older generation MacBook Pro is probably fast enough for you. But if you're deciding between the brand new older generation MacBook Pro versus this one, I'd say just get this one, get the newer one. It's not that much more expensive. And there are a ton of new features on this computer which make it very attractive. If you're always carrying your computer around and you don't need this type of power, I'd say go with the MacBook Air, because to be honest, that computer has been really great for me. It's much smaller. I think it's around 3 pounds. And yeah, 3 pounds feels like it's like 5 times less heavy than this computer. For now though, I'm gonna keep this computer. I'm gonna test it out even more. I'm gonna keep using it at coffee shops or at WeWork. And yeah, overall, I'm very happy with the changes that they made to this. I think they really listened to consumers with the changes that they implemented. And disregarding the look of this computer, which I don't like as much, I think they pretty much nailed it with all the other features and the M1 chip that they put in here. So yeah, in conclusion, you guys, I'd say the 14-inch version is probably better for most people. If you need the large screen real estate, then maybe the 16-inch works for you. But yeah, this is a very expensive computer. It's overkill for most people. Most people won't need something this crazy. But yeah, overall, you can't go wrong, you guys. Whatever you guys choose, it's going to be good. And like I said before, I really think that the computer you use to do work on is very important. You want something that you enjoy using, that will inspire you when you're using it and just give you those good vibrations all the time. So yeah, thank you for watching this quick little review of the MacBook Pro. If you guys found it useful, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I post a lot of more entertainment-based stuff, mostly based on personal finance and entrepreneurship. But yeah, every once in a while, I'll do a video like this, which is completely random. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.